Excuse me, I didn't hear you. I'm sorry. On God. Yeah, that my dog. My dog Pony, you know what I'm saying? We in it bit, man. You know what it is. We holding it down. That's it for today. Yeah.
All right, guys, ready to get rolling here?
Yeah. What'd you make of Gino's first start?
I thought he did a lot of good things really well. I think just like we've talked about throughout the season with our offense, just that consistency, down in and down out. And now he's got a start under his belt this year, different than the first scenario where he's getting thrown right in the mix there in the Rams game. So some good things to learn from and some good things to keep growing from.
Did you have a feeling the passing game would be that short, or was that what they were doing defensively?
Yeah, I think a little bit of a product of their rush and a product of trying to get the ball out of our hands quickly and doing a good job knowing that those guys were doing a great job of getting after the quarterback there. So just a combination of things, and then the way some coverage contours played out didn't allow us to get the ball down the field on some of the ones that were called deeper. So just another chance to grow from it, learn from those experiences for Gino and for the rest of our offense and move forward this week.
What was the conversation like at halftime that sort of led to emphasizing more of the offense?
I think we always want to be a balanced offense. We always want to have that marriage of the run and the pass, and I think for us it still comes back to how can we be efficient, and if we call these runs, let's be efficient every time we call a run. And so really leaning on those guys up front, tight ends, receivers, all 11, the running backs, and they really responded the right way. Come out of the locker room and played a physical second half, and we fell just short there, but really had a good exemplified what we can do when we come together and all 11 guys in the run game are getting after it.
What was different without Russell Wilson, whether it's communication or what plays he called, or what was different?
I think, anytime you're going with a different quarterback, like those guys are going to have some nuances, and you take a guy like Russell Wilson who's had so much success and so many great experiences over the course of his career, and we've gotten a chance to work together in that, him in the starter role over these last several months, you get to that comfort level, and then adjusting with Gino. Like I had said last week, the great thing with Gino is the way he had prepared, the way he'd come about every week was as if he was the starter. So from a communication standpoint, nothing really different when I'm dealing with Gino. He sees the game really well, was able to get us in and out of a lot of the same checks and get into the right runs throughout the course of the game. And then I think just from the standpoint of getting his first chance to get out there, get his first start under his belt, where he's playing through all the situations through that 4 quarters of the game, just to continue to learn how he and I can communicate well at a high level in between series, which we'll continue to keep doing.
What did you learn that's new about Smith? What did you learn about Smith that you didn't know?
His poise, his poise was excellent. You never know about that in practice. I've never had a chance to be around Gino other than the preseason game settings where, you get a little taste of how poised he can be. And, you come out of that first half and things aren't going exactly the way we want them to go. And, he's never wavering, and he's competing right to the very end, right to the very last whistle.
Every running back brings something different. But getting excited back out there, what do you see out of him?
Yeah, he's done a great job. I know he's been wanting to be out here, and he's had some bad luck with some injury things. So second he was able to come back out here, he was in great shape. So, he's getting a chance, and hopefully we'll see where it goes through the end of the week here. But, he showed up right in shape as far as getting out of the rehab phase and onto the practice field phase without missing a beat. He's explosive, fast, reading the runs correctly right out of the gate in these last couple practices, and brings that dimension just like all of our backs do, where he can add some to the pass game, he can add it to the run game, and he's been on point with his protection responsibilities.
Speed is always important, but does it play a bigger factor this week given what the Saints typically do against the run?
Yeah, they're a great defensive unit as far as stopping the run. They get all 11 to the ball. They have a great front, and they rally to it, and they mix and match their fronts. So again, just same theme as last week, getting all 11 involved, and all 11 on each particular snap, but also mixing and matching the different running backs that'll get their different touches, the different tight ends that are involved. Everybody's got to be playing at their highest level on Monday night to have success against a unit that has had great success throughout the course of the season already against the run.
They've gotten a lot of interceptions so far this year too. Did they do anything kind of to create those opportunities? Or?
Yeah, I think some of the numbers that you talk about sacks, and everyone's super aware of sack totals and all that. And like Cam Jordan may not have the sack totals he's had, but he's still disrupting the passer, and they're still getting their pressures they get. And so a lot of those pressures up front, they do a great job rushing the passer. Have created quarterbacks getting off their spots, or creating guys overthrowing and creating those tips and overthrows where those DBs, once the ball's in the air, the thing they've shown is they all have great ball skills, and they're going to try to come down with it. So we got to do a great job against their pass rush so that we do have time to make those accurate throws down the field, not giving those DBs a chance to come down with it.
What does New Orleans do in the red zone?
I think they play sound fundamental defense. Like you look at a lot of defenses that play great in the red zone. They're really strict about their rules, how they're gonna utilize their different coverage calls, and they're not turning people free. So they make you earn every single yard. And because they're such a great run defense, obviously the easiest way to score in the red zone is to be able to run it right in there. And they've done a great job of not allowing that to happen.
I know it's only been a couple of days, but Jacob Eason, what have you seen out of him?
Yeah, he shows up and powerful arm, ready to work, and moves around a little bit. I know it's a little bit different for the quarterback position when you jump in right in the middle of a season and you got to go from one language to the next. So I've seen him come in early for go grab breakfast. I see him sitting down there with his iPad studying away, and I know that's the hardest part of his job right now is adjusting to the new vocabulary, the new language. But just from a pure physical standpoint, you can see why this guy has a chance to have some success in this league. He can throw it all over the yard, and he's got a great positive attitude, ready to go to work.
What do you think of the season Marshawn
I think he's doing an excellent job. He's doing a great job at playing that sticky man coverage, and whether they're in zone or man, he seems to have his hands on the receivers, disrupting routes. He seems to be like he's always around the football. So he's a guy in that top tier cornerback league that you got to always be aware of where he's at and how he's playing in their different coverage contours.
With Eason, how much of the playbook can he know to be a number 2 number 1? How realistic is that?
Yeah, I think he could know the basics of it. I think would be a realistic expectation. The one thing is with him, he's been around enough football that I think he could be able to have a pretty good grasp on all our core concepts that we're going in there with. And we got 10 other guys in the huddle that if the situation did transpire where he had to be in there, whether it's through a wristband or through some of the things helping with the vocabulary, that's really the main difference, when you're transitioning from that position. So I think he'd be able to go in there and function and probably do a lot more than you might expect a guy just in there for a week in terms of, understanding what the concepts are and then being able to quickly just study and make sure he's got the vocabulary right, the sequencing of the play calls and the protection calls or the run calls, straight in his mind versus having to translate every single play from, hey, this is what I used to call it to what it is now to allow himself to play fast.
Did you see them start to defend you differently in the second half when you came out and ran at Alex Collins on that first drive of the third quarter?
Not so much different. I think for us it's really about our execution. And I think when we're executing at a high level, when we can be efficient in the run game, it's happened in spurts throughout the season, we feel like we can operate and handle most looks that defenses give us. And we did a good job of that in the second half, the way we were hitting blocks, the way we were coming off the ball, the way we were reading our run cuts. Everything was at a high level. So just continuing to do that, and defenses are going to have their adjustments that they make throughout the course of the games. Different ways they're going to play their fronts or how they're going to hit their gaps. So just making sure we're in that constant communication on the sideline, so our guys are on the same page and we're really communicating throughout the course of the game.
I meant after you guys started running the ball, did you see them start to play? Pete has talked about how you can sort of dictate how defenses play you by running the ball.
Sure.
Did you see that?
Yeah, there's the standard thing. There's a couple of those runs you hit early on in that drive where you're going against shell coverage and going, and then you start to see some tilts and some more single high and able to create an explosive for Gerald Everett off of that type of scenario there. So definitely when you're running the ball effectively, it affects the intent of how the defense is going to play you and get them out of some of those two deep shells and get them into some more single high, which, just in the numbers game, more advantageous to throw it.
What is it about Jamarco? He can jump in at right tackle and then jump in on guard or whatever.
No, he's done a great job, and that goes back to, I think, OTAs into training camp. Coach Solari did a great job of really moving him around, knowing that, he's a guy that was right on the fringe of being a starter for us, but might have to fill in at some different roles depending on the health and ability of different guys, different weeks. And so by taking that and not shying away from that in training camp where he's able to play different positions, it's really benefited him throughout the course of the season. He's done an excellent job filling in this past week when D-Lou went down. He goes right in there and we're able to seamlessly get him in there and he's playing guard. So he can play all the spots along the line, and I think just his attitude and willingness to be able to go in and practice and take those full speed reps whenever they come has really helped him and benefited him, and he's been a tremendous help to us throughout the year.
What did you think of the protection against Pittsburgh?
I think it was good. I think there's some things like everything else. When the protection breaks down, there's always, it's not always just one particular thing. We've talked about, and Gino knows this, that that calmness in the pocket, so we're really aware of where that pocket depth is. So when those tackles are protecting around the edges, if there's any leakage, hey, how deep were we in the pocket? And then in terms of that, then receivers getting open in that timing and the rhythm of the play. So really taking all 11 of us and knowing that, hey, we don't want to ever have a sack. There's going to be some times that it happens, and then just addressing each time that those sacks occur, where did the breakdown occur? And like I said, usually at the end of the game, it comes down to a few different things, each one of those plays. So just keep doing a great job of staying firm in the pocket, really talking about that communication up front so we know who we're going to, and putting those guys in the best position, with the different pressures and different stunts that the defenses are running.
There was a sack that Dwayne, I guess, came over on his side. Was there a communication issue on that one at all?
Yeah, I think, for that, just talking through those with those guys, there's all, you talk about different breakdowns that happen, and, certain points in the game when there's a little stall and I'm getting it in and making sure we're getting in the huddle with the people, I can do a better job of getting that play in there quicker so we don't feel like we're, hey, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, snapping the ball. And, I can do a good job helping Dwayne out with that right there. And then, just from all 11, just that crisp out of the huddle, get set so we're not up against the clock, so we can avoid those type of situations where we feel like we're snapping it and let the defense have the advantage because they see the shot clock and they can get rolling off the ball.
What was your coaching point to Metcalf on the last play of regulation, if there was one, when he didn't go out of bounds?
On that one there, so he's getting what he can get, getting out of bounds. He's right on the sideline. I think the biggest thing for DK in that situation, he's been great, responding to it, and we're talking through it, is really the ball security issue there. Being great with the football, knowing that, hey, every yard we get, we're going to get as much as we can and then get out of bounds. He's right on the edge of the sideline there, making sure he gets out, and which he would have done if he doesn't fumble the football right there. So he knows it really comes down to a priority on that ball security, which really was a thing that our whole offense can do a better job of, that we took away from that game. We had a couple opportunities, not just the last one of the game for us, but throughout the course of the game, just doing a better job of keeping that thing locked up, not exposing the team where that ball can be in a situation where the defense can get it. Because you see everyone in the whole league right now, it looks like a boxing match as the plays are finishing, right, with everyone punching at the ball and doing everything they can to get that ball out. So again, at the end of the game, end of the half situations, when you're on the sideline, get what you can get out of bounds, and exposing the ball inside, we need to protect it there, get in our outside arm, and get out of bounds.
With the wristbands, the young quarterbacks wear, is the idea that like you just give them a number and then they find the number so they don't have to hear you call the play and then recite it?
Yeah, so, and we'll use that through different parts of it, and part of it too is in case the headset were to go out, which happens from time to time, mysteriously that thing just, dead battery, or the thing's out. So, you just got to be ready for those scenarios. And I think, one of the, Gino went with one this past game, and he was great. I don't think we even used it one time, but, just more for the scenarios in case there was a clock issue, or in case there was a radio issue right there, so we can seamlessly just get to a play on the wristband and roll.
Anything else, guys? Thank you, Coach.
Very good.
All right. Thank you.